Good morning and welcome to Empowering Morning Conversations, session number 502. So it has been great going. Every day we come in the morning, 7 o'clock India time to really empower ourselves through the conversations with the people who matter. So that's what we do here on a day-to-day basis. And thanks to each and every one of you for being here regularly on a daily basis. So today, Sir is recovering well, and he's actually well, but he wants to take rest. So he asked us to continue the sessions. So I'm happy to anchor the session today. So today, the topic we can explore is on being with question or living with question or power of question, right? So there are two different types of questions. One is closed question, another is open question. So closed question is, it forces you to answer yes or no, but that is not what we are looking at when we are saying that being with question or living with question. In fact, this is one of the key aspect of access consciousness, being with question or living with question. So what we are talking about is the open questions. So what is the significance of being with the question? So let's start from there. What's the significance? What's the advantage? What's the use of being with question? What's the use of asking question? And to whom do you ask the question? Do you ask question to who? Malika, ma'am, are you talking? We're not able to hear.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Yes, being in question is we are clearing our doubts as well as it help us to understand the surroundings and the people and their concepts.
Okay, so it clears the doubts. Basically, that's
Yes.
what you're saying. Okay, right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Reddy Garu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Being in question creates awareness.
Yes.
Living for that moment.
Yes.
That's what I understand, sir.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. So when you ask question, there is awareness. Like Malika ji says, question is to clear the doubts, because typically we have confusion or lack of clarity, so that the question clears the doubts. Yes, Abhinav ji.
Good morning, Ramaji and everybody else, one and all. There are some questions for which there is very simple answer. When should I drink water? Simple answer. But there are questions like how to live a happy life. In spite of presence of God, if you believe in God, why there are sufferings? Why whatever I wanted to achieve 30, like I've achieved much more than that, and yet I'm not fulfilled. So for such questions, you have to be with the questions. Why? Because we all come from different backgrounds. I have a different. I lived in a different country. India's name should have been United States of India. Rather, why? Because every state is now, of course, now every state. I remember I went to Chennai in 1982 or 83, and it was so. Today, of course, it's different. At least the big cities. So we all come from different backgrounds, different cities, different parts of India, different father, different mother, different brother, sister, different neighborhood, different school, and even then, if a father has three sons, like I take Sukhdeepak's example, so they are three brothers, and all three are entirely different character-wise, because the perception of life for them, in spite of same parents and same background, the perception, how they perceive is how I will perceive different than how my twin brother will perceive. So no one really can give you an answer. So you have to be with the question and work on the question and maybe find the answer yourself, which is valid only for me, maybe not valid for you, or not even valid for my wife and my daughter. So I think that is how we have to be with the question. Because there are no simple answers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right, thank you. Of course, we can also ask questions to others, but you cannot ask always. Sometimes you ask questions to others, but there is always a possibility to ask questions to yourself and to the universe. So when you're asking questions to yourself, it is also equivalent to asking the question to universe, because if you think the universe as an organism, we are all small cells in the universe. So when we ask questions to ourselves, it is also equivalent to asking the question of the universe, which is the bigger organism. So we can think that way, that we are all small cells in the whole universe. And we are all obviously connected because it is a one big organism, which is the universe, and we are the cells. Whatever we do affects other cells, also the universe at large. Okay, so when you ask questions to yourself, it is equivalent to asking the question to the universe. It also affects others. When you ask questions to yourself, others can also perceive that you are in that question actually. Right? So we are discussing what is the significance of being in question. Yes, Shakti, do you have something to say?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As Reddy sir mentioned, for me also the answer is it's going to create awareness. Yeah, like you mentioned, we are connected to 25,000 people, at least energetically. So it's going to affect all 25,000 people. That awareness. That awareness is going to create a lot of possibilities and then choices.
Right. Yeah. So there is very interesting viewpoints on this question. So there was a guy called UG Krishnamurti. Some of you may know. So he says that the questions typically come from your answers. Yes. So basically, we may have some. Basically, it is our viewpoint, right? So we have our own beliefs and viewpoints. Okay. So we already have the answer, but we want to validate whether it is the right answer or there are other possible answers. Many a times it is just to validate. I know this answer, but I want to ask this question to reaffirm this is the same answer, which is not the right approach. The right approach is to, even though I know the answer, I would like to see what are the other possible answers, because given any question or given anything, there are multiple possibilities and multiple viewpoints and multiple answers, right? So it's very interesting that the question typically arises from your answers, and that is only one answer, but we can use this question to look at multiple perspectives and then choose instead of going with just one answer. So if you have only one answer for a question, you are typically a robo. If you have two answers for a question, you are in dilemma. If you have three answers for a question, then you are starting really. So you should typically have around 7 answers for your question. Then you have the right to choose the appropriate thing. Right. Yes, Kasha, please go on.
One thing that comes up in my mind is about Valalar. He says, Tanithiru, Pasithiru, Vedithiru. So when you're in the question mode, you'll be in that perspective. You'll be alone. You'll be
Kasha,
hungry.
before going, just say Valalar and in English, the Tanithiru, Vedithiru and Pasithiru.
Yeah, be alone, be hungry, be awake. So when you're in a question mode, you will be awake, you'll be hungry, you'll be alone. There is a huge difference between alone and loneliness. When you're alone, you're all alone by yourself and you're in a aware mode. When you feel lonely, that is more like a default mode. That's my point of view.
Yeah, thank you, Kasha. It is like, let's say, I said that we are a cell in the universe, and let's say I am the cell with little bit of fault or little bit of malfunctioning. So then it's easy to separate myself as a separate module, like Kasha said, and then repair myself instead of being faulty and affecting other cells as well. So that's the significance of what he was saying. Kasha was saying, Tanithiru, Veelithiru, and Pasithiru. Right? So be alone, be hungry, not only
Be
for
alone.
the physical food, hungry for knowledge, hungry for helping others or solving problems. Right? So that's very interesting. Yes, thank you, Kasha.
Thank you.
Yes, Shanti ma'am.
Good morning. My thing is like, if you're happy with yourself, you don't need others. If you're not happy with yourself, then we want to find some people
Yes,
so they may help us to be happy. If you're
Right.
happy with your work, with with everything, then you don't need other people. You will continue with the work you have.
yeah. If you are happy, you don't need other people, but other people will come to you. Anyway, when you are
Yes,
happy,
yes.
people will come to you.
Yes, you are happy, they are seeking happiness, and they'll come to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So you cannot be alone in any
Thank
case.
you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, if you are not happy, obviously you will try to seek attention from others, energy from others. No, you keep creating something or other. Yes, that's right. Yeah. But anyway, we are all connected, whether we are happy, sad, or balanced, we are always connected.
Or you may go to people who are not happy to make them happy.
Yes,
That's
that
what
you,
the great saints are doing. Great seekers. They know the answer, they want to tell us the answer, but we are not in a mood to take it in the right way. So
right,
it's not helping us. The
right.
answers are already there. The wisdom is there in the universe. It's said by so many saints and so many seers. They have put the answer in a very small form. But we are not in the right place to find the answers. We have
Yes.
questions. The answer is already there. How to live in this world, how to be happy. Everything has been already found out. But we are not in the right place to get the answer.
Yes, but we have to ask the question again.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah, so that's right. Even though the answers are there, unless I ask the question, I get the answer for myself, I implement it. It is not really fully synced up within me. So it's good to ask the questions again and again, even though the answers may be there already. And also we are seeking different kinds of answers, different perspectives, because ultimately it may all boil down to the same thing, but the nuanced answers specific to the situation makes a difference too, really, for you to really act on that.
We learn to ask the right questions.
Yes. Yes, so that's what we are going to discuss today, that what questions will you ask and how do you ask? So before that, we are just discussing what is the significance of asking questions. Yes, Shakti.
So for me, is a big realization after yesterday's class. I'm trying to be in the question. As soon as I got one or two answers, I'm trying to go and implement that. I'm not looking for other possibilities. Then I'm stuck. I'm moving forward. After that, I'm stuck. I don't know how to do further.
Yeah, stay a little bit
Always my
longer.
mind is looking for an answer, and then as soon as I find one answer, just move ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
So
to
that,
change that mindset, sir?
yeah, that's fine. So that is the starting point. Then slowly you can learn to be staying a little bit more and find more answers, and then choose what is more appropriate for you. Right?
Okay.
Instead of jumping on implementing the first answer which comes up, or within one or two you choose, it may be a great idea to really wait for a few more answers to come in.
Okay.
The thing is, the moment you get one answer, even one answer, you get much more power and balance, right? And then you can stay with that and ask more, or even if you're not getting, now you can go and ask others also.
Okay, sir. Yes.
When you have at least one answer, you have that power. You are not desperate to really find some answer. Now with this one answer, you can really look at multiple answers in a much more balanced and calm way.
Okay. So you are talking about the 7 answers, right? Can you please elaborate more on that?
7.
One answer and then 2 answer you
Okay,
gave.
okay.
So,
No,
right.
that's simple. I have 7, just I took 7 as the number. It can be any number. It can be 10
Any-
for you, it can be 12, it can be 4, or it can be 5. The thing is, don't stop with 0, 1, 0, 1 or 2.
Okay, okay,
The
okay, sir.
answer should be at least 3.
Okay,
Only then there is a choice,
got it.
right? So at least 3. It can be more than 3.
Okay, sir. Got it.
That's the idea. So that it is more appropriate for you to choose, and that is the right way to move forward.
Okay, sir.
So this is what we are talking about. We are talking about choice. So how do you choose? You choose from multiple things. So that is the greatness of India. So the variety in India in everything is amazing, right? No other country can have this kind of variety in anything, whether it is food, clothes, lifestyle, whatever you choose, right? So the variety is so much, and you can choose what you want. So similarly, any questions, life questions, or whatever the questions you have, you create variety in it and then choose. So that's the point. So being Indians, we have that advantage anyway.
Thank you.
So I'm not discriminating, but I'm just saying that. Yes, anybody else would like to share the significance of questions or anything related to questions, being in question? Okay, so if you want to be in question, you have to be in a particular state of mindset or emotions. So if you are disturbed, if you are worried, it's very difficult to ask the question, the right question. Your mind will be always into the problem, and you will not be able to really ask the right question required for that situation. So the first thing is to bring balance to yourself. And typically the questions, if you ask in the mode of wonder, curiosity, and balance, then you will get great answers. But if you are asking questions in distress, but the question itself will be very, very, what to say, not so effective question. So you'll say, no, why me? No, why somebody has done this to me? So that's not going to be of any use. So even before asking question, you have to balance yourself. Otherwise, the question itself will not come. Yes, Kasha.
Another thing, what I felt is like when we are in a question, it's more on an expansive mode. When we come to an answer, it's kind of defined. So that's what maybe they say in Access. Being in question is more powerful than being. We can have multiple possibilities. So that's one point. Thank you.
That's right. So yeah, being in question is expansive. And if you are in contractive mode, it will be very difficult to ask the right questions as well. Yeah.
Another thing is when we keep on questioning, even though we start with a bad question, somewhere when we are curious or when we look for what else is possible, definitely the energies will show us the right question. And at times it can be a great shock of life. Oh, what a madness I've been doing all these years. There have been few instances in my life also. On one particular thing, I was very in one particular racing. There were some issues, and I was behind it. At a point in time, I felt, that question suddenly one day popped up, and it made no sense to me. Okay, better don't do it. All these days you've been unaware. It's okay. Now you have that awareness, drop that. So that was something, there was a change in perspective.
Yes.
In
yes.
Access also they say, like, when your frequency is higher, you tend to lose a lot of your friends. So that's possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Yes, Abhinav.
See, also, your question was ki why we should be with the question. See, one of the reasons that we will not accept the answers given by others.
Yes.
Till the time we discover the answer ourselves,
Yes.
we will not, I remember 3-4 days back, someone actually got upset with me because he asked me the question, why there is suffering in my life? And I tell, sufferings are all interpretations. In a certain situation, we interpret as suffering. And he got angry and upset with me. I shouldn't have said this to him. So we have to, I think we all have to find answers ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
We'll not be
someone
able to
gives us
accept
the
others.
answer, all the answers, we will not have. See, in all these religious books, all the answers are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have all the answers in Quran, you have all the answers in Gita, but we will not accept, will not
Correct.
follow them and not accept them. Yeah.
Correct. So that's why
And
we need to
Bible,
ask
of
the
course.
question. Yeah. Once we ask the questions, then we will be forced to act on that, find the answers for ourselves, or go and find out from somebody else, or from the books, from the scriptures, whatever it is. Yeah. It's like you ought to eat for yourself, right? Even though food is there everywhere, unless you eat, you will not be able to sustain. You will not get the energy. So similarly, the answer has to come for you, from you. Even though answers are there outside, that's not sufficient. So why suffering is one of the biggest questions, which are normally asked very unconsciously. But if it is asked in a conscious and really very serious way, one could find an answer also. One could find some answers. So one of the things, for example, when you are breathing in oxygen, you will breathe out carbon dioxide. So why carbon dioxide outside? That's the part of the process. Right. Yes, Kasha.
On a lighter note, you ask you what you want to be you.
See, on a lighter note, even we have a common friend, Deepak and myself. So in one of the landmark seminars, he was crying, I'm suffering a lot. So the seminar leader asked him, why are you suffering? He says, because my father and mother has always been biased toward my brother. And not, so he says, how can you say that? He said in his will, my father gave a 20 crore house to my brother and only a 15 crore house to me. And I was thinking, everybody was suffering like you, inheriting a 15 crore house.
Exactly.
This is a real example. He's a common friend of mine and Deepak in Delhi.
No, pain is inevitable, but suffering is your choice. That's where the attitude comes in. When we have a different perspective to the same, instead of looking at the same point of view, we will look at in multiple possibilities. See, always we look at the intended result, but the intended result also has certain unintended results. So that will give a whole picture onto it. Thank you.
Right. So now that we talked about suffering, so let's move on to the next thing of asking questions. So what questions would you ask if you're suffering? If you're suffering on with anything, so what question one can ask?
You normally ask, why me?
That's not really, that's not an open question to start with.
Okay.
And it is not going to really help getting clarity.
First, what next and what action should I take to come out of this suffering? And then what next?
Yes, what next could be one good question. And why am I suffering? What is that I'm suffering with? What's
And
going on?
what action should I take to come out of this suffering? I think I'm
Yeah.
not clear, right? I'm not audible.
Yeah, it's clear. But you see, at that moment when you're suffering, it will be very difficult to think what actions. But you are right. Theoretically, you are right. Practically, what questions we can ask?
Can I?
Yes.
We can look at what is that there in that reality that I am missing out. So that could give us a better perspective about that reality. So that's one point of view. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Shakti.
What's right here if I'm not getting? I'm suffering.
Yes,
It's trying to teach something, but I'm not getting into that.
exactly. I think that is one question we can look at it. If we are thinking that it is something wrong and something bad is going on, so can I look at exactly the opposite of that? What's right in this situation, which I can utilize, or what is really happening? What's going on around? Yeah. Yes. Because otherwise you will be in infinite loop. If you're suffering, you are in a particular thought, frame of thought, you will keep going in infinite loop. To break that infinite loop, we can ask, what is right about the whole situation in which I'm suffering now? That's a one great question to ask. Yes, thank you.
And the moment we suffer is because we victimize, we think that we are a victim. So that is not a powerful state.
Yes.
When we look at as Shakti said, in what way what rightness I can see, that will be much powerful. Most of us, we don't see our points of view or what is that where we missed out. We always try to put blame on others rather than looking at in a neutral perspective, because we have some emotions attached to it. Right, wrong, these emotions we have. So without those points of view, if we look at, we will get a whole picture. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Shanti, ma'am.
The situation is not suffering. We just, in our default mode, we are just looking at only the sufferings. There is also an opportunity in that situation.
Exactly.
When we find out the opportunity, we won't bother about the suffering.
Exactly. So when anyway you are suffering, you can ask the question, what opportunity is here which I'm missing it out?
Yes.
Can I
It is
find
not visible
an
to
opportunity?
us? The opportunity is not visible to us, and the suffering is visible to us. We are feeling the suffering.
Yes.
We should avoid that point of view and then see the positive side.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So to stabilize yourself, that emotions, whatever the negative emotions or the victimized situation, you have to use some tools and come out of it. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult to ask the question. So you could use the crazy statement also, right, to come out of it and then ask the question. So when you are in suffering, you can ask, what's right about this situation which I am missing? What are the opportunities available here which I can make use of? And what are the other questions we can ask? Yes, Kuldeep.
I just want to share something about what Hasinandi has mentioned. That the main question is in suffering is, why me? once the famous US tennis player Arthur Ashe, he was, I think, about 6-7 times Wimbledon champion. He was dying of AIDS and have a lot of pain. He got some wrong blood transfusion, which created AIDS in him. Lot of fans, they came to see him. And one fan asked him the question that why you are such a great man? Tell me why the God has given this pain to you. And he said that in US, few lakhs of people, they want to learn tennis. And out of few lakhs, 2,000, they actually take coaching. Out of few lakhs, 2,000, they came to the circuit. And out of few thousand, few hundreds, they were aspiring for Wimbledon. And about few hundreds, less than 100, they are qualified and they go. And when we are in semi-finals, we are only 4. In finals, we are 2. And when I was holding the cup in my hand, I never asked the God why me. So that is the answer.
Exactly. So when we are doing something great, we don't ask why me.
Means when we are asking why me, we are not asking questions. We are working like a tradesman. We are training. When we are happy, no questions. When we are not happy, lot of questions.
Right. So when you are not asking question why me, when you are showered with so much,
Yes.
there is no point in asking why why me when you are suffering.
This I want to share.
Yes, that's right, sir. It's beautifully explained. Thank you. So yeah, we have to ask the appropriate questions. Otherwise, it is of no use. It will only take you further down, right? So that's why we said typically it should be open question, not just a closed question. That I think Kuldeep very nicely explained that. Yeah. Okay. So what are the other questions one can happen? What one can ask in a typical day? In a typical day, what's going on with us, and what questions we can ask? So one practical situation all of us go through, which I am also going through, is that suddenly some thoughts come in, some negative thoughts, some negative emotions. So this is a typical thing, right? Because as we all know, we can easily pick up others' thoughts and others' emotions. So we may think that it is our own, and we start suffering. So that's not required, right? So when suddenly some bad mood happens, some negative thinking comes, when some negative emotions come, the question to ask is, who does it belong to? So that is something I found very, very useful. I did find that kind of situation. I asked that question, and I could really release that others' thoughts and others' emotions. So that is one practical thing I found. So Shakti, you might have found a few more things you can talk about it. Yes, Kashan, before that, let's listen from Kashan.
And as you said, in those kind of similar situation, another thing helping me is it's an interesting point of view. If I can look at my point of view and my emotions as an interesting point of view, like a third person, that gives much that feels much lighter than being heavier.
Yes. So this is basically, instead of suffering with what people say or do to us, we can always say that it is an interesting point of view, and see that as a interesting point of view and a different point of view, or a different answer for your question, instead of suffering from that. Yeah. Thanks, Kashan. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Shakti.
The recent days, one of the powerful tool is, so what, now what?
Right.
It's immediately giving relief. Okay, this acknowledgement, so I'm able to move forward.
Right. Yeah. So if something happens, which you don't desire, you don't like it, then you can ask, so what? This is what is the situation, so what? Now what can I do? Right? So that's another great question. So what if it has happened like this? And now what? What can I do? So what are the other typical days challenges? And then what questions we can ask for that? So one of the things could be you get irritated with somebody nagging, or you are on your own thought, and somebody asks you, you get irritated, or somebody comes and wants to speak to you or wants to get help from you, you may get irritated. So what question one could ask in that situation?
Sorry, sir, I missed it. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, so I'm basically I'm trying to look at in a typical day what happens to us, right? What are the various situations we face, and in those situations what questions we can ask. So one of the situations I'm describing, I'm just possibly thinking that everybody may have, is that we get irritated with something, right? So why typically you get irritated? Because you are in your own thought process. So in that situation, because it is a typical situation, I'm asking, what question could we ask in that situation? Okay, while you are thinking about it, let's ask this question, that what is your typical issue? What are you really worried about, or suffering, or feeling difficulty on a day-to-day basis? And then we will see what question we can ask in that situation. Yes, yes, Kasha, and then Reddy Garu.
One of the tools, yes, I do get irritated, but bouncing back from that will be little faster, because previous to access, I used to watch my breath. So with that, with access tools like interesting point of view, and who does this belong to, all these tools make it still more faster. The getting back to awareness is much faster. Thank you.
Right, yeah. So that's basically when you are in bad mood, bad negative and negative emotions and thoughts, how do you balance yourself and then start asking questions? So to balance that, you are saying watching the breath and saying that it's an interesting point of view. Yes, that's right. Yeah, that helps. Yes, Reddy Garu.
Sir, going back uh, into default mode without my knowledge
Yeah,
is the biggest.
correct. So that is a typical situation. Yes, I think you are very well described. That typically we go back to the default mode.
Yeah.
So when we are in default mode, what question could we ask?
What else is possible? How can I do
Yes.
better than this?
Yes, what else is possible?
How can I do better than this?
Yeah. How does it get any better than this? What can I do to get into creative mode?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right. So that can be one good question. What can I do to be creative?
Yes, sir.
What can I do to become happy? What can I do to make others happy? What can I do which can be of use to me or to others?
Yes, sir.
And another thing what I noticed is, we get disappointed or we get upset, either some way we would have communicated or we would have assumed things, that by default they will do it and things like that. And then we get upset with them, with few instances with myself, what I've noticed. So for better relationship, or relationship as in like with any other people, with our family or in workspace. So if we try to communicate in a much better way, that one thing can avoid us to a default mode. That's one point of view. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Shakti.
So to answer Reddy sir questions for this default mode, I was practicing, but right now, actually, I need to start again. As soon as you wake up, you can ask this question: who am I, and what grand and glorious adventures I'm going to have today? As soon as you wake up, you are asking the question. That whole day, you are in the creative mode. That I found so useful. That
Yeah,
you can try.
can you say that? Can you say that question?
Who am I today, and what a grand and glorious adventures I'm going to have, or what I'm going to create it today, something like that. If you have found the question as soon as you wake up, that's
Right.
giving whole day, it's like a creative mood.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, as soon as you wake up, if you're asking that question, I saw that a lot of significant progress in my day.
Yeah,
Most
we
of
can
the
also
creative
we can
mode.
also ask on other times as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Wake up plus other times also. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Kasha, you wanted to say something? No. Okay. Yes, Shantima.
Yes, as soon as you wake up, you become grateful for that day. That day was given to you. That day is given to you for something. If you are in a default mode, oh, another day, another misery. If you are in a creative mode, another opportunity, so another new experiences. So you experience every experience with ease, joy, and grace.
Yes.
Yeah, when it shows some suffering, obstacles may come. Because without obstacles, we cannot grow. Obstacles will come, but you need to accept that obstacle. If you're not accepting, you feel victimized. Oh, I am victimized to this situation. If you accept the situation, yes, this is the situation, and how I am going to go forward from here. You have that awareness to find out the obstacle and the opportunity. If the awareness is there, you find the obstacle, you find the way. You have a balanced mindset throughout the project till the end till you get the result at the end. Otherwise, you see all the obstacles and give up.
Yeah. So you can also ask the question, what's my awareness? What am I aware of? What am I missing? Right? We can also ask the question that, how can I show my gratitude for whatever I have already? How can I show my gratitude? Yes, Ashok.
Yeah, my view is slightly different.
Yeah.
Positive attitude is the key to many of the things. Positive attitude. When we ask questions, there should not be any negative or which can tell, oh, my God, there are other alternatives. There are so many other things. So I think Shakti said, in the morning when I get up, I tell myself, this world is beautiful, is meant for enjoyment. Today, I am going to make the best day of my life. And then 1, 2, 3, whether to work or help somebody or gratitude or something. But these 4 sentences, that this world is beautiful, It's meant for enjoyment. Today I am going to make the best day of my life. And it does help, and it does change the total mood.
Yes. So how can I enjoy myself? How can I know,
Sure.
enjoy the beautiful world around me? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's a great question to ask. Thank you.
How can I not now? I am going to change.
Yeah.
Not how can I? I am going to change. So whatever I decide is going to be the best. So there is no argument on that.
Sure. So what we are saying is that, typically, how do you want to change? If you have only one answer, that may not be the best one. So that's why the question comes into picture.
Agreed. But getting out of negative feelings,
Yeah.
towards the positive, there
Yes.
has to be some aim.
Yes.
Here the aim is today is going to be the best day of my life.
Right.
So if it is to be the best day, I am going to do so many things. So approach is positive. No,
Right.
not that we should not ask, but approach should be positive.
Absolutely. That is a positive affirmation. So create a
positive affirmation. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then obviously your questions also will be appropriate. Yeah.
Oh yes, correct.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir. So basically, like we said at the beginning, that the answers are there. So many answers are there. But the thing is it appropriate for your situation? So like today, the topic is being in question. So what are the questions? There are so many questions we can ask. We have the huge list of questions, but then you have to choose what is the appropriate question to ask for the situation you are in, instead of just blindly go with the questions already there. Right? So that's the point. That's why we are exploring this. Otherwise, I can show hundreds of questions which you can utilize at any point in time. Right? So let me show you some questions anyway. So some of the questions, am I aware of the current situation outside and inside me? Right? Typically, when you are in a confused mode, you can ask this question, am I aware of what's going on? The other question is, what question could I ask now? Right? So what if every time you choose to ask a question, you are anchoring in higher frequencies and bridging the gap between possibilities and reality? So basically, the question allows you to bridge the gap between possibility and reality. So what if every time you choose to ask a question, you are anchoring in higher frequencies, like Kasha said, and bridging the gap between possibilities and reality? What is the purpose of my life? This is a very good question to ask whenever you really get into what to do or what not to do. So I know you are just deviating yourself, doing something meaningless things. What are my priorities in life? This is a very, very important question. Actually, what happens is when you get into certain situations, if you need to choose what is the right thing to do, I think you can always use the priorities of your life to choose the appropriate one. What is my goal here? What else is possible? Who does it belong to? How does it get any better than this? What do I really desire? And the 4 questions which Shakti explains very beautifully every time. What is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? If so, how can I change it? I wonder how much fun can I have creating my future? So this is a good way of putting the question. How can this turn out better than I could have imagined? So instead of thinking negatively, this is a positive way of putting it. Oh, something will go wrong. Will it go wrong? No, you ask the question, how can this turn out better than I could have imagined? But typically we think that, oh, it may go something wrong, but it can go something better. I wonder what new things can open up for me if I ask more questions. What can I add to my life today that would expand my life in many ways? What can I do? What can I add to my life today that would expand my life in many ways? Will this choice make me happy? Will choosing this create more ease in my life? That's very important. Will this be a contribution to my life? If I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? What other questions can I ask that would create more clarity for me? What can I add to my life today that will generate lots of money now and in future, specifically on money? If I buy you, will you make me more money? If you're purchasing anything, do you want to own me? So this is very important. There are so many things we own, but sometimes things own you, right? So ask that question to come out of that. What else can I create from here? What could I add to my life today that would create, generate, and actualize money right away? Right? So these are very small set of questions, but like this, you can really frame so many other questions. You're saying something, Shakti, you are on mute.
Sir, it's so awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So the thing is, instead of just blindly going through some questions, it may be more appropriate for us to look at what is the typical situation we get into and what could be the appropriate question to ask in that situation. So that's what I'm trying to bring out today. Yes, sir, Ashokji. Maybe you already spoke. Yes, Shantiji.
Sir, could you show us the question ones, because I want to take a.
Or you want the question? I'll put it in the group if you want.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm anyway putting it once more. So I'll send it in the group also.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. So if you really look at all the great masters, they always encourage to ask questions, whether it is in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna answers questions of Arjuna, or any of the Upanishad things. You see there will be the student who asks the question to master and master answers that. Right. So the questioning is really very important, and it has been demonstrated repeatedly. It is not something new from access consciousness or any such thing. It has been always there in our tradition, asking questions. So you can ask questions to yourself, to others as well. Right. So one of the greatest question to ask, I think some of the great guys like Ramana Maharishi said, who am I? Is one of the greatest questions you can always ask, irrespective of whatever the situation. You can ask, who am I? And whenever you are loaded with a lot of thoughts, you can always ask the question which Ramana gave us, is that to whom the thoughts are coming up. So it is to find out who really you are actually, right? So that identification, basically the ego and identification, is the main thing, which is okay, that is required for our functioning, but that should not really take us into difficulties. So we should realize that we are part of the whole universe, ultimately, even though we have the separate existence. We cannot exist without the others, without the universe. So who am I is a great question to ask at any point in time, for example. And what do I really desire? What is the purpose of my life? What are my priorities in my life? How am I being useful to others? What contribution can I make to the world? Right? So these things open up a lot of things. So Anybody else? Any other inputs, viewpoints, questions? Before we ask Kuldeep ji to say some shairi and anybody else to add more shairis. Yes, okay. So yes, sir, Kuldeep ji, you can share your beautiful shairi.
It is dedicated to all friends. कि बस आपकी दुआएं मिल जाएं, यही काफी है। बस आपकी दुआएं मिल जाएं, यही काफी है। दवाएं तो कीमत अदा करने पर मिल ही जाती। Means if I get your blessings, it's really great, because medicines I can always get by paying the price. Thank you.
Great, sir. Thank you. And today, Venkatesh ji, you are shairi. Yesterday, you said that you would. Okay, maybe you would give when Sukhdeep ji asks. That's fine. But anyway, do you have anything else to add to ask anything here? You are on mute, sir. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
We had a literary competition, like literary this thing, where we have to write a 4-liner. It is called as Tanaga. So I too wrote few. I'll read one or two.
Yeah, sure.
1 minute. It is 4 lines. Each line must have 7 letters. Okay, 1 minute. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. ನೀ ನನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಹೊಡೆಯುವುದು ಶಾಕು, ಹರಿಯುವುದು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬ್ರೇಕ್. That is, when you touch me, I am electrified, and this electricity has no break. That is in 4 lines each. Okay.
Yeah, 2 lines.
No, it is each line has 7 letters.
Yeah. It's a famous form of poetry. Yeah, in Tamil also it is called Venba.
Of poetry from Philippines.
Okay.
So another one is Avalannu Kandaga Marate Jagavannu. Niddeyindedodane Marate Avalannu. That means when I saw her, I forgot the word, but I got up from sleep and I forgot her. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Another last one.
Yeah.
ಸಂಪತ್ತು ಇದ್ದವಗೆ ನಿದ್ದೆಯೇ ಇಲ್ಲವಂತೆ, ಕೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬೇಡವಾಗಿದೆ. This means the world says the person with wealth doesn't get sleep. After listening to this, I felt I don't want sleep. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. And we will again catch up tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock EMC. Thank you once again. Have a great day and have great questions to ask yourself. Thank you. Yes, sir. Premji.
Thank you, Rabaji. Your thinking is very good. Best for me.
Thank you.
I implement every line.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I save you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Great session, sir. Great. Amazing.
Good.
I love that question, sir. Can you please share the question with us, sir?
I will send you.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Right.
It's a great session.
Bye.